This is the King's View video for the Revelation study at Phi. And it was quite a study. I listened for, wow, I got through at least 15 minutes of it. It was some pretty tasty mashed potatoes. Almost tasted like grass-fed butter maybe. But it wasn't Kerrygold, which is like I always eat with my king. So, I didn't hear anything about 1 Corinthians 3 or Philippians 2 or taking what literally that you were saying from Isaiah about that some would be the righteous in the end that would be protected, but some who might be caught up will still be caught up in the rapture. And what does rapture mean with all of your great studies we see? Because I thought the whole point of it was that the king is just like Santa Claus, and he's been keeping the naughty list and everything all along. And now when he comes as king, 1 Corinthians 3 will weigh everything to see where your heart is with this rapture doctrine. And if Beam Me Up Scotty was your idea, well, Star Trek 3 could come true for you. Because was the Star Trek 3 the latest one, which had the Leonard Nimoy out there in that cold-blooded planet with the new Captain Kirk that was really good on his feet from running from demons? Maybe that whole Hollywood thing is just getting karma black mirrored itself, and a lot of these movies are coming true now, like all these press conferences with news stories that remind me of some of those scenes in the Surrogates movie with Bruce Willis that I always thought could easily come true with all the things they got going on and all this mummy imitations. There might be something connected here, especially with the glitches on camera. Camera. Hey, that's a good Espanol theme. I don't know if you know what it means, but if you speak any Spanish, or if you know anybody and you want to talk about this, just say, "Cámara!" That's a good one. It's kind of like cuernos, you know, like the goat one. I think that's where cuernos comes from. It's different than shaka, though. That's what I don't say to Mexicans too much, because they don't get the Hawaiian thing, you know. But you would if you lived in Hawaii, anyway. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, yes, the fun. It's so much fun, you see. Because this shell game with Mr. I'm sorry, what's your name? I did say a quick prayer for you, and I hope that your wife feels better, but sometimes the health things are related to the spirit, because you can, I don't want to talk badly about people, so I won't mention his name, but there was somebody who recently was on the Q train, and he was pushing this theme and how Q and Trump and everything's for God, and it's all good, and the rapture's all good, and well, no, not the rapture. He wasn't on that train, but he was on for a lot of these things and having actual prayer together with chat rooms and everything. But he was in a prayer meeting, and some of us who are with the king were asking questions, and well, he just kind of got quiet and decided, did he blaspheme? Because I don't know if you're like sold out on this whole rapture thing, but if you've already got beastlies to where you can no longer say king, then you would be part of that like anti-king, antichrist movement you seem to be gaslighting. Is that what you're doing? Because if you never want to say king, and how Philippians 2 could be literal, and what that would mean that Santa Claus is true and everybody around the world will bow, but not your little doctrinal theme, well then how's that going to go for you? Or are you going to that like Mitt Romney style doctrinal planet idea where all the good ones like you will rule and the rest will just burn in hell or whatever God decides, because the chosen ones will be the only ones that will be worthy to rule a planet, which is what actually I think that Mormon doctrine teaches. So, I mean, I've heard that a lot of Mormons obey the greatest two commandments more than anybody else, and I've seen a lot of family things good come from Utah, but I don't think that they have all the right doctrines, or do I know enough of them to know if they're bowing to a king to come, as they think they might rule a planet like Mitt Romney does. So I never heard you talk about a few things in all those minutes, but I didn't hear them all because it was like mashed potatoes, no meat, and I'm not a big vegan guy spiritually when I hear long-winded teaching, because somebody said beware when everybody speaks good of you, and they don't all speak good of me literally, but that's fine. It's part of the plan, maybe. Because my king, well, those people that you seem to be playing shell games with, like one of the bigot ones or whatever, do you never talk about the original slave ship that came from the Rothschilds? Was it the Ashkenazis who went to Africa, to Negro land, Africa, to pick up the first slaves that were from the tribe of Cush? And that was the first slave ship to America? And that they were the tribe of which one is it? The chosen ones of Israel or Judah? Which? And did you have all that all figured out in all your studies and doctrines of men that make sons of hell? And have you not talked about how Revelation 22 is literal for probably many beast-marked anti-king, anti-Christ teachers who are so sold out to princes they can never say the word king in any of their teachings? Because Revelation 2 is real quick. And when he comes, he will do some yelling and not be real mellow yellow like I think I am, but many call me like crazy. So please do tell, what is your plan? Because I haven't seen clearly through all your deep studies and teaching and all your great works that you're talking about, yet seem to sweep over the word king. And that Trump gold coin thing, did you know about that? About the anti-Semite LGBTQ laws that are in Israel already, where 75% of Israelis will not take what they call the Holocaust vax, or that mask-induced pneumonia killed most 100 years ago, and it's starting to do the same Depop thing with most of the church in charge of helping now? Are you like with the government to help like get rid of the social security problem as the dollar becomes the peso? And maybe King Saul might have time traveled through Trump? Reincarnation could be true because it already happened before, when Elijah came back as John the Baptizer to expose all the trees that were not well rooted, like with a king, because that whole Trump gold coin thing was to like behead some of us who aren't so special. Is that the part of Revelation that you go deeply into? Because if you look at some of those verses in Revelation and 1 Corinthians 3, it does go over that Bema judgment where everything is made to see. And, well, do you know that et tu, Brute? Well, that actually could be to you. Just like Caesar said to Brutus when he got stabbed, you see, because when Brutus stabbed him, he didn't think he was God. And once you blaspheme, well, that God that you know or think you know might have already left. And especially if you're a teacher and you don't realize that teachers will be judged much harsher than the rest of us, you see. And if we're just thinking Santa Claus is real, we're all good. But your ideas could become quite a fantasy that comes true in so many ways, from Star Trek to X-Men. I don't know which, but it would be very entertaining if you don't quickly come clear. Because if you're not with a king, that means you're with a prince, and the prince that I've heard of in that Sino de Satan in Revelation 2, which is most of the church today, well, they back a Jesus boils in shit idea. And is that kind of like what you might have been thinking about me smoking right now? Because if you want to tell all these people these things and keep shaking that brainwash machine, well, hey man, tumble up and it's all good to me, because whatever you want, you might be already sold out to that queen, like that whore de Babylonia. Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, we'll pray for your wife, but I hope she's not Jezzy or anything, because wow, we've got plenty of those right now. And sort of make sure who you're with, because, you know, clarity is always nice with a king coming. When he said all along the two greatest commandments would fix everything, and there was nothing racial there. And didn't somebody say that the king doesn't discriminate between Jew and Gentile? Yet you seem to keep bigotry in your teaching and avoid the word king, as if you believe there's a people that will behead us and make us those sacrifices that are in which verse? Was it Revelation? And then as we get the crown of life for being such a nice sacrifice, yes, I give myself like Jesus did, because you are the chosen ones to rule over me before the king comes. And then he'll give me a new body anyway, so just go ahead. Would you rather crucify me? But I'm not worthy of that. So what did Peter do? Oh, put me upside down. Please do tell. Because it would really, really be a fun show to see, because there's a lot of studying you're doing, but it doesn't really seem to get to the point. And it has a lot of shuffleboard in it, especially right now. And now it's like, well, there's different things you can look at this and different things you can look at that. But you're still with that rapture theme, which I just want to know, give me that beam me up Scotty idea. Because here's the thing, see, if you can move mountains with your faith, then you should be talking about it. And this is what I had happen with, I didn't even look for it. So I wouldn't even call it a mountain yet. I'd call it a hill, but it was pretty surprising to me, because I had like a vision that, wow, you got to wake people up to these doctrines of men that are making sons of hell, especially these ones on this rapture theme. And so I did a quick video about it real quick and said, hey, if you're on that UFO spaceship, it's like Star Trek come true, so don't do it, because you'll end up on one of those Star Trek planets, and it's like cold-blooded and ugly over there. So you don't want to be like that in your faith, because according to your faith will be given to you. And so I made that video, and I said, just beware, and if you've got doctrines you're worried about, just get off that wrong chair, because it's comfy, but if it doesn't include your king and he comes, well, it's going to get ugly real quick, because he might even not let you be here, because this kingdom's coming to earth as it is in heaven, and it's not bigotry there. And he's got 72 million of all that I know from every tribe that are coming, that were born there. And so, who are those, the chosen ones? Or what does your theme do with that part of Revelation, sir? Please do tell, with all your great studies and wisdom we haven't heard plenty about for so much time. And now I'm already up to 20 minutes, which, as a teacher, you should know that most sermons now never go over 20 minutes, because people can't stand listening to TMI, and that's like the limit for most people, is 20 minutes of teaching. Like, most people are like, oh, I can't handle anymore. So as you go on for 50 minutes to explain these themes, I'm just trying to figure out where you're at and whose team